So in 2014, we got together and we know we did our first maneuver. Did our first maneuver in 2014, as I've mentioned. We was back at in the back of Black Forest Theater. If you're from Dallas, you know that's where Erica Badu had once leased the location and did a number of events at the Black Forest Theater, social events, music events, like brought folks like Pimp C, George Clinton, uh, people like that. She brought to the Black Forest Theater. And so we was pretty comfortable with it for us familiarity because we knew the location. We knew South Dallas. South Dallas is the African American community for the most part. Historically, 80 to 90% of the folks in South Dallas is black. So we pretty familiar with it. Obviously, you've been to every part of the country, where they got an MLK Boulevard. Guess what? That's where we at. So I know that y'all can understand that. So with that being stated, that was the first one I've discussed. The second one uh, was twofold. Uh, Second was twofold, where we wanted to go down to the federal building. Was very focused on police brutality. Police brutality was the first and foremost thing we dealt with, right? That was the issue. That was the reason for the first one, was around police brutality, especially at least my part of it. Because I mentioned Clinton Allen, who was a victim of police brutality, James Harper, South Dallas victim of an officer who shot him in the back. And so police brutality was the main thing. But so with that being stated, we decided to go to the Earl Campbell Federal Building downtown Dallas. And so uh, had a couple of things that happened in that process. One being before we went to Earl Campbell Federal Building, we went to Dixon Circle. Now, if you're from Dixon Circle, then historically that's a black area in South Dallas. It's a one street for the most part. One street. You got some apartments over there, got some houses over there. We went through Dixon. James Harper shot in the back by an officer, Brian Rowden, and it nearly caused a disturbance or rebellion, if you will. I spoke to Russia TV afterwards, but I actually left work at the time because I was working, and I went immediately to Dixon Circle. There was some other folks that was already at Dixon Circle. Um, One of them being Olinka Green, she was already down there. Uh, and I went down there. I probably had a different perspective than they had because I was more so looking forward to a potential rebellion. Being honest with you, because I had been tired of seeing black folks kind of being shot down by police. And so we always say that the difference is, a lot of folks say, well, what about black on black violence and that sort of thing? And we don't dismiss anytime somebody kill their own or whatnot. But what we do say is that anytime that a black man kill another black man or woman or whatever, 9 times out of 10 we going to jail. We say that the corruption lies is that the system allows these officers, black, white, Puerto Rican, wherever they may be, to get off with minimum or no charges. For the most part, it's going to be no charges, but as minimum as possible. So that's what we talking about, and that's the reason that we say that there's no justice. There's plenty of justice when somebody mows me down, shoots me in the back. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna go to jail, end up locally what we call loose theory justice center. That's they'll go to jail for shooting me in the back quickly within 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours. But with a police officer, they'll put him on administrative leave. He'll go home to his family. He'll get time to speak to a lawyer. He'll get time to figure out how to make a statement, and you know, then it'll go to a grand jury. Then they'll decide if they want to do a grand jury situation. The whole time he don't pay the administrative leave, he been getting the check, the whole time. Whereas somebody shoots somebody in the back here in Highland Hills, that's not gonna happen. They're gonna go to Loose Stairs jail. They're gonna be indicted. They're gonna sit in jail probably for a whole year because they bail is too high. $1 million bail. And a lot of folks ain't got $100,000 to get out, and so they're gonna wait a year and a half to go to jail. Then they're gonna give them some plea bargains. They're gonna probably start at 30, go down to 20, and maybe hold it at 20 or sometime 15. And they 9 times 10 gonna set the plea and they're gonna catch a train, go down to the penitentiary, TDC. That's how it go, and that's the reason that we say it's a difference. And so that's why we point the finger at the system, and we say that the system creates this situation of injustice that exists as relates to poor black, brown, poor people communities around the country. You know what I mean? Because it easily a police officer can easily shoot a man in the back, get off, be on camera, and nothing happens, right? And so for that reason, as I stated, I was looking forward to the rebellion in Dixon Circle. This was on June 24th, 2012, that this situation happened. And because of that, back to the Huey P. Newton Gun Club was carried over. The reason it carried over because we did our second maneuver in Dixon. Babu Omawale did he did the press conference. I was there. Uh, we decided together to let him speak since I did a lot of talking the first time, and we got a lot of media coverage. So the second time we let him speak, and he spoke. I think that was WB 33. I think that's who he spoke with. That's who he spoke with, and so we went from and we walked down the street, down Dixon again. It's one street, so we went from one end of Dixon to the other end, and people again was perplexed. Again, keep in mind, a lot of folks at that time wasn't concerned or didn't know about black folks being able to bear arms like that, and so we did. And this is more than just a Second Amendment thing. This is a police brutality thing. Because again, we went there specifically to talk about James Harper. At that time, uh, there had been a no bill, but the family had a civil case against the city at the time. So we was there really just to talk about James Harper, more so keep his name out. And that was really what my focus was, personally, being honest with you, was to keep James Harper's name out. And second to that, Stephen Benavidez had wrote a document called The History of Violence, so to speak. And it really went over a 10-year period talking about unarmed individuals killed in the city of Dallas in a 10-year period. And so the objective was at that time was to take that document to the federal building, to the Earl Campbell Federal Building, which that was the second location. First location again was Dixon. We walked the street, talked to the community there, did a initial press conference, then went to the federal building, Earl Campbell Federal Building. First of all, we parked at City Hall and we walked armed through downtown Dallas. Went to the federal building. Myself and a couple of folks. There's a couple of pictures that's out there. I want to say the Dallas Observer covered it. We then went inside the federal building up to the top floor, and we attempted to give to the receptionist our report. Again, 10-year report on unarmed individuals that's murdered by the police. Basically, what this kind of set the stage for, because eventually we filed a federal complaint against against the city of Dallas as relates to these individuals. Based upon our research, we did what was called an open records request. And that open records request pretty much gave us the information that we needed. We compiled it together and we kind of created this history. And that's just how we more so got into that. But the situation at hand at the time, we were just really trying to uh, kind of keep our foots on the issue. Again, the issue was police brutality, and as I explained to you, why. My perspective has always been to honor the uh, the legacy of the original Black Panther Party. That's been the main reason why I did it. One of the main reasons why I did it, and I felt at the time that we were doing that, staying very focused, staying very focused on police. No, that was our original startup reason. That was our original reason for starting it up more so than anything else. And so I kind of leave us with that. And I just wanted to talk about that because I still remember that day very closely. What happened in Dixon. And uh, funny thing is that we had a on the process of going from Dixon to downtown. We had a car breakdown. Vehicle broke down, and we had to kind of had to keep it going because we kind of had a schedule. And some folks will tell you that one or two people stayed back with the vehicle, and so we lost a couple of people. But we was also joined uh, by Cooper Caraway, and I believe his organization at the time was called Indigenous Liberation Party or something more than anything else. Also at the time there was a group called the Brown Berets, which I know a lot of folks are familiar with in this generation as well, just as much as they familiar with other groups. And the Brown Berets were doing their thing as well. So that basically was our focus more so than anything else. I think we did pretty good uh, by attempting to try to keep the names of those folks out there in the public as much as we could by doing basically a 2-in-1. And like I said, the Dallas Observer documented it, and I think this more so this situation, this maneuver, as we call them, took place in October 14. It took place October 14. That's when this maneuver took place. And as I stated, the reason that it took place is because folks uh, was tired of police brutality. We tried to get as much out of it as we could to try to inform the community, especially Dixon Circle. We tried to propagate with Dixon Circle. Again, Dixon Circle is one of those communities that is historically African American. Now I think it's kind of a mix, or maybe majority brown, but maybe definitely a mix. But historically, it's African American. That's where folks come from, and they have that history with Dixon. You hear a lot of older folks. They always know somebody from Dixon. They're gonna always know somebody from Dixon or have some sort of relationship and or experience in Dixon. So I just want to discuss Dixon Circle and the history of that and whatnot, and the reasons that we did. Again, this was a second maneuver, Dixon Circle, and yeah, we do Dixon Circle, and then basically downtown Dallas, the Federal Building, and we did a little press conference at the Federal Building as well, in downtown Dallas, and again that part of it. The other one in Dixon was about talking about James Harper. We did that, and then we went downtown Dallas at the Federal Building. That was about the document. Again, that was written by Stephen Benavidez, A History of Violence, and again, it was about unarmed individuals. And so we went and gave that to the, I guess, for lack of a better term, the administrator, the receptionist at that was on like the 10th or the 11th floor. And, we gave it to them, although they didn't want to take it. But you just keep in mind that not too much long thereafter, less than a few months thereafter, we ended up filing a federal complaint. And that's really what they wanted. They wanted a federal complaint. So we decided to, since we did all that, to give them a federal complaint. And we filed a federal complaint against the city. And I think that's on record that we did that. Again, that was back in 2014. And that's kind of how the Huey Newton Gun Club, did its thing. Very concerned about activism. Uh, that was at the initial point. That was a chief thing that we was focused on, was talking about police brutality. We focused our attention more so on the system, more so than the individual. Like, I know now a lot of folks, they kind of go out to individual cases or whatnot, and individual situation, and that's fine. That's what they choose. But our focus was exposing contradictions as relates to City Hall, the system, the police department, internal affairs, the district attorney's office, exposing those contradictions, because that's what people could see that a lot clearly, more so. So that's what our target was. But anyhow, peace, power, prosperity. Peace, power, prosperity. If I didn't say it, if you can like, share, subscribe to my channel. Something I'm just kind of thinking about as time go along. Just reminiscing on history and just kind of, as they say when you rap, put it on wax. So I'm just putting this on wax for folks to be able to follow back up with. Um, Feel free to reach out to me. Again, I got a book coming out. We About Lagoon. We About Lagoon is my book. It's going to discuss all of this. So it's coming. Peace, power, and prosperity.